Cool. Go.
Hey, Matt Riddle, the King of Bros. Support WrestleTalk. Do it, bro.
Support WrestleTalk!
So it turns out NXT can do a better go-home show than the main roster. I know. Quelle surprise. I am Luco and this is El Fakador Laurie Blake and welcome to the post-NXT edition of WrestleRamble where I am trying not to get killed by this wire that is next to me.
We have created a death trap.
Yes, usually we use someone else's laptop to do the video on the screen. However, that person isn't here today, so we're using mine. And yeah, I'm just trying not to die while reading my notes or create disaster. So, fingers
One pull
crossed.
and it all comes
this
crashing
will all come crashing
down.
So fingers crossed, this all goes fine. So, and also we're sponsored by Beer52. Go to beer52.co.com/WrestleTalk and claim your free case of craft beer, UK viewers only. So, NXT last night, this is the go-home show for NXT TakeOver War Games. And Ollie and I were rather critical of Raw and SmackDown. While they both had their excellent moments, Becky in the main event of Raw, obviously attacking Ronda Rousey, and Daniel Bryan shockingly winning the WWE Championship on Tuesday, are kind of like these things to make you go like, maybe I should tune into Survivor Series.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they've also not done a great deal to make you care about the other matches.
Any of them, yeah.
So,
and also the problem is because all the Becky Lynch stuff isn't going anywhere anyway now.
It's
Like
all
we've
out
now
the
had,
window.
and that's obviously not their fault necessarily, but yeah, we've been building to this one match. They've put all their sort of eggs on the basket, in the basket of this match with Becky and Ronda, and unfortunately Becky now can't compete, so they've gone, oh no.
Well, let's scrap everything then and just start all over. Like Daniel Bryan champion? Like, for example, at the other matches on the card, you've got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. It's IC champ versus US champ. This should feel like a really big deal. This is like the first time these two have ever had a match anywhere around the world. And Seth Rollins' promo on Raw essentially boiled down to, you don't need to care about this match because I don't care about it.
Well, absolutely. And that's the thing, is like, you know, he's obviously had a hell of a lot of storyline going on, but that's also caught up in various outside influences they don't have any control over. So you just have to kind of go, okay, well, he's more interested in Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Shinsuke, we haven't seen.
Well,
Shinsuke has been he's been in absentia.
Yeah, he was
for
on
a very long time.
He was on SmackDown at the very least to say, I care about the match. I was like, well, at least you're trying, I guess. But like
this week.
Yeah, we don't have any reason to care about that match. Likewise, the tag team match that's on the kickoff show, no reason to care about that. And while the company are trying to make you care about the 5-on-5 match, at the same time, it's like, but why are you fighting? What are you fighting for? There is nothing on the line to be sort of fought over. But come next week, none of it will matter.
Well, even the invasion was led by Becky Lynch. It's not even like the invasion even matters to the people in the match. Like they were all bit part players in the invasion. The actual invasion and the proper match that is between the two teams are the five men and the 5 women in their various matches.
Yes. And further to that, that was also built around supposedly built around the women's 5-on-5 match. However, we don't know who the 5th member of the team on Team SmackDown is. So we're going into the show with an incomplete card. So while WWE have done some very good stuff this week, Becky Lynch mostly, even when she's injured and cannot compete, on SmackDown she was still arguably the best thing on the show.
What an amazing promo.
What an amazing promo that was. So I've got very little interest going into Survivor Series. I cared about one match, and we're not getting that match anymore. So my interest level in Survivor Series is very, very low. But onto NXT, they have an hour's worth of TV, and in that hour, they had 3 matches, which is 2 less than Raw did in 3 hours. And one of those matches had a major stipulation that was going to lead into the main event of NXT TakeOver War Games. So that's a big deal.
Yes.
But throughout the show, they also built the other matches that are on there just through video packages. They were the hype packages we're going to see on Saturday, but that doesn't matter because they're there to get you excited about those matches the same way they're there to get you excited about them on Saturday. And they also set up other storylines to come out after War Games. So this did a very good job of building up and getting you excited for a show on Saturday, as well as what will come Sunday, post-Saturday.
Well, there was a bit of me being like, my defense wanted to be like, Raw and SmackDown, they've had a terrible time with injuries and all these outside influences forcing their hand when it comes to the booking. So is NXT, I guess. Not with injuries, but with the fact that just all the tapings happened pre
Evolution,
pre-evolution, pre any of this other stuff. There's been all this story they've had to just deal with coming out, like, and it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
And then they've still managed to make. I still feel like Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler again feels important now because of the influence of Duke and Shafir. Like putting them into the mix now, it feels like Shayna's starting to build her own little stable, and Kairi has to be the one to kind of topple it. But I think what we're going to see is the beginning of the Four Horsewomen proper.
Yes, that's
now,
where we're sort of getting towards. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think and they've managed to do Ciampa and Dream haven't had a huge amount of face-offs, but that still feels pretty big. Like it feels like a major deal. Gargano and Aleister Black has obviously been the story going on in NXT, really. And then the War Games match feels really important because the quantity of people in it and how good they are. It feels like it's going to be this amazing thing.
Yeah, they did a really good job on this episode, as I said, of getting you kind of like hyped and excited for. And the Baszler Sane one in particular, I think, is interesting because this is a match we literally saw a couple of weeks ago at Evolution. We've seen several times over in NXT this year already. But the stipulation, or the added stipulation of it being a 2 out of 3 falls match, and them having legitimate storyline reason for having that match makes that match feel like a big deal. And you're like, yeah, cool. It does need to be 2 out of 3 falls. Yeah. It does need this gimmick around it because that makes storyline sense. That makes logical storyline sense for this feud. So I'm now really looking forward to that. And Kairi Sane, bless her heart, promos is not really her strong suit because the English language, not her first language.
No.
So that's absolutely fair enough. But she did actually a really good promo in this. Yeah. I really liked her promo.
And I think it was good as well because it was from her perspective. And I think a lot of the other promos, like leading into Evolution, the promos were Shayna focused. I lost the title.
Yes.
I messed it up. I'm training in the gym. I'm coming back for it. I'm going to win. And then she did.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing Kairi's side of things, and she's holding her own. Because I think before, and we were saying this before, one of the NXT reviews leading into Evolution, we were saying when we see Kairi, she's just milling around outside Full Sail, and they were like, "Kairi, can you tell me one thing?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm going to win." And then Shayna gets this 2-minute promo package of her like boxing in the gym, kicking
awesome.
people's heads off, and looking really awesome. And Kairi's just like, "I've got a treasure chest, and I'm outside."
Yeah, and that's weird as well because it's like the treasure chest thing could feel like a really naff gimmick of like, it's my treasure chest, and she has the title within this treasure chest. Very cartoony, very early 90s WWF. But somehow, in this promo, where Kairi was like, I've lost my treasure, I was like, oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
Genuinely felt really bad for her.
You sweet little bubblegum princess. I'm so sad for you.
I want you to win that title back now because she's a proper bully.
Yeah.
And you were screwed out of your treasure. So I thought that was really nice. So we haven't got a lot to dive into in this NXT review, but we'll save everything for the full review itself. But I suppose really the big question is, was this a better go-home show than Raw and SmackDown were for Survivor Series?
Well, I have to caveat heavily with the fact that I actually watch NXT every week, and I don't watch Raw and SmackDown.
You watch the highlights.
I tend to watch the highlights for Raw and SmackDown, or I'll go and watch the matches when I can. But yeah, so I'm more in tune with what's going on in NXT in general. So I would be more excited anyway. And the fact that there's only 4 matches on the card, and it's probably going to be about 2.5 hours, so everything's going to get like a good showing.
Yes.
I'm very excited for NXT TakeOver. However, I was excited for Survivor Series until this week happened, and all the stuff sort of fell out of it, and I'm like, oh, I was kind of into that, before.
Yeah, it's really weird because like the bottom really has sort of fallen out of Survivor Series because as we were saying, like I was. And I'm not just excited for one match. It was the most excited I've been about a singles match in WWE all bloody year long. I was so into this Becky versus Ronda match. So excited for it. But now we're not getting that. We were talking about earlier, like when we were in the studio. Charlotte versus Ronda is still going to be a really great match. That's going to be awesome.
That was originally their plan for WrestleMania.
Right?
Apparently.
That's also going to be great. But I was so into Becky that I was really... But now, without that match...
Feels flat.
It does feel flat. It does feel like the bottom has really fallen out of it. And Survivor Series usually is a very fun show. I got a bit of heat because I said that I hate the Survivor Series format. I used to love Survivor Series. It was like one of my favourite pay-per-views. But because it's based around this Raw versus SmackDown meaningless nonsense, I've really turned off on the Survivor Series. I just feel like it halts everything.
Well, it needs to have like another stipulation to it.
It should be stakes.
It should be whoever wins gets to pick someone from the other team and just take them Just be like,
Yeah.
okay, we won. I'm having AJ.
Yeah, totally. Something
Like,
along
you know.
those lines. Or, like, we were saying the mixed match challenge. The winner of that gets the number 30 spots in the Royal Rumble. Like, why hasn't Survivor Series got any implications for the Rumble?
Yeah.
Like, why hasn't it got any implications for anything? But anyway, we're off topic. So let's go into NXT and give our thoughts on the whole show. So the show kicked off with the EST of NXT, Bianca Belair, being undefeated and remaining undefeated when she beat Mia Yim, Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
There was a close point where she would get feated because of Mia Yim's finisher.
Yeah. So Mia Yim is the the head baddie in charge.
Yep.
Such a lame
Blasian baddie.
Yep, that I think is fine. Like, that was weird.
It's okay.
It's okay. But head baddie in charge sounds, as I said, it sounds like Dr. Claw. She does have some nice drop kicks, though. This was a fairly good match. But really, the whole point of this match, and kind of why I was really sort of high on this NXT show in terms of its building towards TakeOver and beyond, is that it was setting up future challenges for whoever wins between Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. That's really what this whole, like, the first two matches on this, that's what they were doing. They were like, the commentators were putting over very heavily, Bianca Belair is a number one contender. She should be in the title hunt. And then with the Lacey Evans match, the same thing was like, she should be, like, this really establishes her now as a championship contender. So that's setting up future storylines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once the Baszler, so even without being able to have Baszler and Sane on TV in front of the live crowd for the last couple of weeks because of they taping everything before Evolution, they've done enough to get excited about that match without them being there and future matches without knowing what the outcome was going to be.
I
Great
feel
stuff.
I feel like the thing at Evolution should have been, you probably should have just decided who was going to win the belt before the event happened.
I'd imagine
and then
they
you could have
probably-
taped
yeah.
it all, but you know, whatever. Whatever.
But this was a fine little match. Mia Yim's got some fairly nice drop kicks, but eventually Bianca Belair fouled her with the KOD, which is a reverse fisherman's facebuster.
Yeah, torture rack, facebuster slam.
Yes,
Jig.
lovely. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Doodad.
I'm a big fan of
Gubbinsy.
I'm a big fan of Bianca Belair. I think she's ace.
She was great. I thought it was really good in this as well because I think Mia Yim got the showing she needed to have on NXT. Like she had a fairly standard one in her first match, and then I think she got quite a good little showing here. Like and looked strong against Bianca Belair, and it was quite tight at the end. It wasn't like it could have gone either way. It felt like, but Bianca Belair came out vicious in this. I thought it looked like it was a different level than we normally see, and obviously she was still kind of cocksure and cocky. However, she turned it up a little bit here, and I just thought that was quite nice to see her being like, let's see because she's been dominant so far, so it's nice to see her stretched.
Yeah.
And see how she sells that and works that.
Absolutely, yeah. We then got backstage. Kathy Kelly was interviewing the War Raiders, Pete Dunne and Ricochet, ahead of their War Games match this coming Saturday. And she's asking who's going to represent their team in the main event tonight, because the main event tonight is one member from Team Goodies versus one member of the Team Baddies. And they're going to have a singles match to determine who is going to be, who's going to get the man advantage at War Games, which Pete Dunne obviously said the match was not about, clearly forgetting the rules. Ricochet that he wants to do it, Pete Dunne said he wants to do it, or Pete Dunne stood up and was like, I think I should do it, to be honest. I think I'm really good.
I'd be great at this.
I think that if we go to win, it should really be me.
I'll break his fingers.
And then Rowe of the War Raiders stands up and tells him it's enough, and Hanson says that he's going to do it instead. And this is cool because this is what we said last week. I wanted to see a member of the War Raiders in a singles match against one of the tech guys. That'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a good setup, and I like the idea that they're still keeping that tension boiling over between Pete Dunne and Ricochet because that means one, there's probably going to play in the match in some way, and I think could potentially be something that hands Undisputed Era the win here. But also has implications further down the line should, say, I don't know, for instance, Pete Dunne loses his NXT UK title and then he can vie against Ricochet for the North American title. Yes. And then he's suddenly in the American branch of NXT.
I guess, making that slow transition up into the main roster. Yeah. God bless his
soul.
Where
he's going to be the future champion.
Yes, well, absolutely.
The man has Universal Champion written all over him.
Absolutely, he does. And it was, they played off quite nice between the tensions between Rick and Pete, and that played into the main events of the show, which we'll get to, I suppose. But also, this has a nice implication in that the War Raiders stood up and said, this is stupid. Why are we all arguing?
Yeah.
In, much harsher words. Oh, they weren't quite as polite as I put it.
Enough!
That is more what they did.
I'm doing it.
And Hanson's like, I'm the one that's going to do this. And then he lost. So there's going to be implications of that within the match as well. Of just like, well, we trusted you to win on Wednesday and you failed.
Yeah, true.
So there's lots of stuff that could be done.
To be fair, if the War Raiders shouted at me, though, I'd be like, please, you go nuts.
Go for absolutely, you go for it, mate.
Have to go, sir.
Oh no, I insist. We've got a video recap, the hype package that we're likely going to see on Saturday at TakeOver about who ran over Aleister Black.
It was Johnny.
It was Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano was the one who attacked Aleister Black backstage. And this was really cool. It was a really cool hype package for this match. It told a really nice story. It was particularly around this Gargano saying like, hey, I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy in this scenario.
I love this, yeah.
It's so awesome.
I love the fact that, and I love the fact they're using all the Venom stuff on his gear now, because it's the perfect character to sum that up as well. That the idea, like, not Venom, but the black suited Spider-Man, I think, is that is the exact thing. It's like, I'm using this power.
Yeah.
For good,
and
I'm not aware that it's corrupting me.
And obviously, Johnny Gargano is a massive comic books fan. Like he talked very openly after Stan Lee passed earlier this week, and about how like Stan Lee characters have influenced a lot of his outfits. And it's really interesting that here he has got this Venom or the black suit Spider-Man thing, and you compare that to what he had. I think it was at TakeOver. It was one of the earlier takeovers this year. It might have been Philadelphia or the one that came before WrestleMania, New Orleans, I think. Where he was dressed as Captain America.
The street fight.
The street fight was Captain America, wasn't it? And so he's gone from Captain America to black suited Spider-Man / Venom. What a wicked little character journey that is, and using your outfit to convey that change of character. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
I think he's done it's been a really good transition, and I think like it's been such a nice, slow build for it, and I think it's been well told to be like, we were obviously going, oh, who's it going to be? It's probably going to be Johnny, isn't it? But like it's very satisfying to get to that point where it's like, oh, it is Johnny. Yeah. Brilliant, because he's probably had the most perfect arc of any character aside from Ciampa. Obviously, he's had the exact same arc basically, but 1 year earlier. They've had the most perfect arc, I think, of any characters in NXT, and it's nice to see it sort of, even though it's taken like 3 years to get here, it's paying off now.
Oh, absolutely it does. So I was a big fan of this video package. And it's funny as well, because like before Gargano turned, I think I might have even said on this show, I've certainly said previously on other shows, like, he's such a natural babyface. Like, he's the sort of guy you never really want to turn heel because everyone loves him so much. And it's, humble pie, slice after slice for me. I said the same thing about Becky. I said the same thing about Daniel Bryan. I said the same thing about Sami Zayn. And yet here we are. And it's brilliant. And what an interesting character journey for him.
But it works because he's a babyface.
Yes,
and
exactly,
I think what the brilliant pitching of this and what makes it so compelling is the fact that he still thinks he's a babyface.
Yes, that's why it works.
That's why it works.
Works so well here, yeah.
Hopefully something similar happens with Daniel Bryan. I think Becky obviously shrugged off the being a heel thing of just be like, I am just that damn good.
Yeah. This is me.
So this is why these things...
This is me.
As long as these things work out in that way,
yeah,
it's fine. As long as Johnny doesn't start turning around going, oh, you never liked me. It's
like, oh, God, yeah.
We've all been holding up little smiley faces for years now, Johnny. We love you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's why I love this character. I think it's really, really cool. Kathy Kelly did another interview backstage, this time with Matthew Riddle, who said that he really enjoyed his debut.
He did. He loved his debut.
Obviously, he's talking about his debut. God, Matt Riddle's good. And he says that NXT's not ready for him, but this brings up Cassius Ohno. And Cassius says that when he came in, he challenged NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura. He challenged the glorious Bobby Roode. What have you done, Matt? What have you done since you've come in here? Nothing, mate. Nothing. You've done nout. You're all hype, lads. And he challenges Ohno to a match next week. I'm doing big inverted commas for podcast listeners, because it will be taped before War Games. So I think we might end up doing that as part of our predictions. So it's going to go up later today because we've only got 4 matches to talk about. So we may as well talk about Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno as well.
Matt Riddle wins.
Yes, spoilers. That's
End
what
of prediction.
So they're going to have a match, quote, next week, but it's going to take place this coming Saturday before TakeOver, which I think is going to be really fun, actually. I think it's going to be a great match because I'm a big, big fan of Matt Riddle. And I like this as well, because this is something else you don't get on the main roster. The interviewer having a little bit of personality. Because Ohno walks away, and Kathy Kelly, the professional that she is, she was there to do an interview with Matt Riddle. This dick just came in and interrupted. So she's like, so sorry about that.
No, I'm
so terribly sorry. That was really unprofessional on our part. And Matt's
It's a shame they haven't got any runners to stop people just walking into the shot.
That's what WWE is in need of.
That's what they need.
They need less people.
They need some floor managers.
They need less people acting like security guards standing outside exit doors. They need people there. They need runners, mate. Can't people need their cups of tea? But Matt Riddle said it's fine because he's happy they talked because now they can fight. That sounds like fun. Next up, we got Karissa Rivera versus Lacey Evans. Now, I thought this was supposed to happen last week. Now, maybe I misread this, but 2 weeks ago, there was a graphic that said Lacey Evans in action next week.
Yeah.
And I'm almost saying we said that in our review. And then it didn't happen last week, and I thought, well, that's odd. And then it happened here, and I was like, well, I guess it was 2 weeks. Maybe I read the graphic wrong.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I find it very confusing with NXT's graphics when all the up next and next weeks and stuff. I'm just like, I don't know when anything's happening. I have no idea when anything's happening when I watch NXT. I'm just like, it all just goes in and my brain just goes, I can't comprehend when anything's happening. So like, sometimes it'll be like, in 4 weeks' time,
Aleister Black will be in action.
We're going to see someone in 4 weeks' time.
Get excited, kids.
And now he's been released.
And it always works. It always works. So this is my first time seeing Karissa Rivera. She has a very good look, but she didn't really get a whole lot to do in this match. It was more about showing off Lacey Evans.
Well, funnily enough, when she didn't have an entrance on the program, I was like, oh, she's not winning.
Yeah. Evans, this really was like a showcase match for Lacey Evans, as predicted last week. Her entrance music is stuck in my head. She has a spot where she kind of like throws her down to the mat and starts doing some push-ups on her. Rivera gets some overhand chops, but hits a horrible-looking dropkick. Considering the dropkicks the Mia Yim threw in the opening match, they shot it from an angle that made it look as less horrible as it possibly could. But sometimes you can't fix everything. You can't polish a turd. But what I like about the Lacey Evans character is that she's the lady of NXT. I'm acting like a lady. I'm classy. I'm so dignified. But when Rivera hits this horrible-looking dropkick, Lacey is very upset. She is very, very upset at the disgrace that this woman just kicked her in the chest. And she turns, and she essentially becomes this more vicious character. Her whole demeanor changes. And she goes into this really aggressive mode, women's right, punches her right in the face, and then as soon as the match is over, she's back to being a lady. I'm so classy. I think
she's very concerned about the redness on her chest, though, as well. She spends a lot of time looking at him being like, you know, that I do like that bit of her character. I'm not overly sold on the Lacey Evans thing. I'm not like vibing on a move set. I don't really like the women's right as a finisher. Like I think it is a name and like it's a name and a symbol more than it is like a cool move.
Yeah, it's weird because I didn't like it when Big Show did it.
No,
and like Big Show is like 8'12". You know, he's like a massive dude. So when he punches you with his fist that is the size of a car, you do believe that would knock a man down.
Yeah, but you got to realize what do you do for the rest of the match.
Well, yeah, because anytime you punch him, it's like, well, why didn't that kill them?
Yeah,
it's because you went and you screamed at your hand. It gives it the power.
So if you've got the iron fist, then fine. Like I'm aware that if you summon the iron fist and your fist starts glowing, then maybe you'll knock a man out in one punch. But if you just change the way you punch from I'm hitting you to
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I just think it's a bit naff.
I think it's a bit naff as well. But I like the Lacey Evans character. At the very least, I like her character. And as I said in the Mia Yim match, Bianca Belair, I should say, this sets up future contenders for whoever comes out, the victor against Baszler and Sane. One would assume, perhaps we're diving more into our predictions territory here, we're setting up heels. So maybe Sane will be the one to recapture the title, especially if they are going to be doing a horsewomen thing at after Survivor Series. But we'll save that for predictions afterwards. And then Lacey cut a promo afterwards saying that NXT is full of classless nasties.
I think they need to be so careful with that. Because she's obviously got like the Southern Belle accent. And I'm just going to say that everyone else, if Shayna doesn't win and Sane wins, and then it's Bianca Belair and Mia Yim being set up as the other characters.
I see where you're going.
They need to be very careful about having a Southern Belle white woman calling everyone else nasties.
Yeah.
you're getting into a bit of a minefield here of,
Yeah, let's skirt around that. And she says that they've forgotten to carry themselves with sophistication. She's the lady of NXT. And if they don't adhere to her standards, she's going to teach them a lesson in class and standards with the women's right. It was a fine promo. It was a perfectly fine promo. We then got a video package for Ciampa and Dream, which was good, and I'd say the best video package of the night to hype up Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane, which was really good. And this is where we got Shane talking about her losing her treasure box and wanting to win back her championship. I thought this was really cool. Really got me excited for the match on Saturday.
Well, it's amazing that you can still be excited for a match we've seen so many times.
Absolutely,
and you're like, okay, well, do you know what? Actually, they've done amazing matches.
Yeah.
Really well, and I can't wait to see them, because this feels like the culmination of this feud, right?
Really
it's
does,
gotta,
yeah.
It's got to be. This is the big stipulation, unless they do the classic NXT thing of be like, we'll do a different stipulation next time. This is the Johnny and Ciampa thing. It's okay, we'll just keep doing different stipulations until eventually, I guess it comes out in the wash. I don't know, like.
So I'm really looking forward to that match. And in our main event, we got Hanson of the War Raiders versus Kyle O'Reilly and his excellent entrance in a terrific little match. It was about 10, 12 minutes or so, but it was really awesome. It was great stuff.
It had a lot in it. They managed to pack a bunch into it, didn't they?
Yeah, actually. And if it wasn't for Bryan and AJ on SmackDown, this would probably have been the best WWE match of the week. I thought so. I thought it was absolutely awesome. I'm a big fan of War Machine, of the War Raiders, and I love, when Kyle O'Reilly is making his entrance, doing his, playing the belt like a guitar and doing his kick, just being the brilliance that Kyle O'Reilly is. Hanson is just crouching, just giving him the hands, being like, get in the ring. Just get in the ring.
Hurry up now,
because when you do get in the ring, I'm going to stand up, be massive, and you're going to get hurt.
I love the beginning of this. I love the fact that Kyle played into his kind of cocky character, but with the MMA style stuff, and he was basically playing hit and run for the first bit. He was throwing out a few kicks, throwing out a few punches. And Hanson just anytime you want to actually have a proper fight, and then eventually backed him into the turnbuckle. I just thought that was such a brilliant opening moment.
Yeah, there was some really cool stuff. And he starts throwing Kyle O'Reilly hither and yonder. But there's an amazing moment, I love this, where Kyle O'Reilly was essentially trying to goad him into getting on the floor. He got down on the floor and essentially tried to jockey for position with Hanson standing up tall. And that's a brilliant, that feels like a real fight. Of just I can't take the man down. But if he comes down to me, then I've got him on the floor.
I'll win on the floor.
Yeah, I've got him on the floor. That's a really cool character thing.
Yeah, and there were so many brilliant bits where they played into that idea that Carl kept trying to take Hanson down. And Hanson just kept being like, no, I am far too strong. Just no, I've picked you up.
Off you go.
And there were a few times he just picked him up and put him back. And it wasn't even I've picked you up into a suplex or doing anything. It's just and you're back. Yeah. And he's I'll try something else.
It was really cool. And eventually Kyle O'Reilly does get the advantage on him by doing a dragon screw through the ropes and then starts to work over his leg. Chopping the big tree down, as a commentator might say. And then it really got into schmoz mode when and this was awesome really, because Hanson just pushes him off while Kyle O'Reilly's attacking him, clocks him in the face, women's right to the face.
I know.
And
the most powerful move in all of NXT.
And Kyle just hits falls on his butt, falls right out of the ring, and then Hanson hits this ginormous tope suicide. It was absolutely awesome, and that brought down Adam Cole. And Adam Cole was there to kind of distract him, and Adam Cole was standing there, not trying to stop him. He just was shouting at him, stop that.
He's going, don't you dare!
Don't you dare do that!
Don't you dare!
It would be very inconvenient if you did that.
Incredibly cross if you jump on him.
But it was enough for Hanson to miss the moonsault and Kyle O'Reilly to get out.
It was enough for Hanson to change his mind from what he was doing, because he looked like he was setting up for a big leg drop,
or the Vader bomb.
So he was setting up. And then he just turned around and then went for a moonsault instead. Missed it, obviously. Yeah, it was great.
And it was awesome because Kyle O'Reilly dodges the moonsault, grabs a near fall, and transitions instantly into an arm bar and into the ankle lock. This is awesome stuff. Hanson gets to the ropes, but Cole kicks him on the outside. Kyle O'Reilly hits Axe and Smash for another near fall. And this is when we start getting everyone else running down. So Rowe runs down.
Takes out Cole.
Yeah, I like Hanson doing a cartwheel to dodge one of Kyle O'Reilly's attacks. I love that. And then Strong and Fish come down. Then Pete Dunne comes down. And
there's a brilliant moment where Strong runs up to meet Pete Dunne. He just does one punch and Strong just goes flying. Women's right.
It's such a devastating move.
It is a devastating move.
And then Ricochet appears from nowhere and does a big flip dive onto everyone. And then back in the ring, Kyle O'Reilly uses the belt like the bloody heel that he is, and he pins Hanson. So Undisputed Era have the advantage going into War Games. Good job, WWE. You managed to get that one right. I thought it was a terrific match.
It was a great match.
Really great.
I mean, it's the babyface's fault they lost, really, there. Because, like, you could have all just come down together.
Well, yeah. I mean, guys, come on. It's
teamwork, people.
It's not like the Undisputed Era aren't known for running down and causing distractions or anything like that. This is your own fault, lads. This is on you, mate. I'll be honest with you. Even Rowe, where were you, mate? I know Hanson could do this on his own, but just be there as backup, lads.
Yeah, there was good. I think there were good implications here as well for the War Games match, because obviously they were putting over the idea that Kyle kept working on the left knee. I think it was of Hanson.
Yeah, I think he worked on both. But
so
he transitioned from the right to the left.
Yeah, so he was working on both legs, and they were saying we're only a few days out from War Games. Will Hanson be well in time for the match? And then they also did the same thing to Pete Dunne.
Yes,
down. So
and Pete Dunne hurt his leg off Ricochet's flip dive.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Undisputed Era that took him out.
He got a chop block as well from
that was
Roderick
right.
Strong.
Yes,
and then he was underneath the flip dive as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. So there could be a story. Yeah, Brian probably got that wrong there. But they could tell a story that Ricochet also hurt him, because he was kind of not celebrating, but he was on his own, away from everyone else. As very much the outsider of this foursome. And so there's some really good stuff going into this War Games match. Pete Dunne's hurt, Hanson's hurt. Can they all trust each other? Whereas Undisputed Era not only have got the numbers advantage, they're all fine. And they're a complete unit.
Yes.
They are at 100%. So they really have got the mind games and all other advantages going into the match.
And I also think all this knee stuff. There's two people with hurt knees on one team. Who likes to hurt people's knees now? His new thing. Bobby Fish.
Bloody Bobby Fish, mate.
Bobbert Fish.
Bobbles Fish. Bloody loves hitting people in the knees.
Yeah, I feel like this is where he comes into shine here.
It's going to be so good.
Chest to the knees for everyone.
So it was a perfectly fine episode of NXT. Not a whole lot to talk about in it, really. But what this episode set out to do was get you excited for TakeOver War Games. And for me, that was a rousing success.
Yes.
Because it did make me excited for War Games. There was 3 matches, only one of them's worth going out of your way to see. But I did think it was a fairly fine hour of television that did an excellent job in getting me excited for a pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Couldn't ask for more, really, from
absolutely not.
Something filmed weeks ago that goes out 3 days before something else happens.
And I know a lot of people go oh, Luke, all you do is piss and moan about the way that WWE do things, wanting it to be better. And it's but I know they can do it.
Yeah,
I know they can do better.
We're well aware that you can magically make an episode around bad booking or someone being injured or weird bits of scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
NXT somehow manages to do that week in and week out.
They manage it fine.
And it always manages to be at least good to very good.
But that is all we've got time for in this NXT review edition of WrestleRamble. Remember to head over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to claim your free case today. UK viewers only. OBS. Click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to check out the latest WrestleTalk awesome things. We're going to be back later today with the NXT predictions for TakeOver War Games, so you keep an eye out for that. I have been Luke Owens. This has been El Fakador Laurie Blake, and that was NXT.